Good day, time, my fuzzies, and welcome to a quick review of a game, movie, or TV show I just finished. All thoughts and feelings are my own and are just for fun, quick way to get out my feelings on what I just played or watched. So enjoy and don't take anything too seriously. Good day, time, my fuzzyites, and welcome to Elder Scrolls Chapter 1 Arena. Or just The Arena. Or just the Elder Scrolls Arena. Overall, this is a being old, a very tough game in playstyle and whatnot. Whereas nowadays, a lot of games have it where you slowly progress further and further and the enemies kind of go with you. Unless it's a Souls-like game where it's just meant to crush you right from the get-go. This one really just throws you in the deep end right away with not much choices to get better besides just brute force, which I had to do during the half of it. So while it is a good game, it looks beautiful, it plays really well. Like I said, it feels just like they were like, yeah, just throw stuff in there and then we'll just make it the hardest thing in the world right from the get-go. So it forces you to have to like chug down potions of resistances or healing or other things, making it not very like your choices are limited, really. Just get the best weapon in the game, which you can pretty much get right away. Go headlong into danger and just keep chugging down the potions. It's the best way to go through, unfortunately. Even going through and, like, there's no even point to finding things, really. As a lot of them are just, it's procedurally generated, so it's just random what you'll get. Maybe you usually get some money, but sometimes you get armor and whatnot, which is kind of useless, especially if you keep going and you buy better armor or find better armor right away. Unless you find magical items, which can be sold for quite a lot. There is ebony armor somewhere in the game that you can get. I never went for it, because that's just a waste of time, especially the way I was going, but it would have helped me take less damage. But yeah, overall, the game is fun, it looks good, the places look neat, the character models look neat, the enemies are neat. Everything is really well done. It's just really, really tough, forcing you to just chug down potions and hope for the best, which is not my favorite style of play. Especially in an old game where all you can do is really swing your sword around, and if you're not a mage, you have no magic attacks. So that kind of sucks. But either way, like, the overall opinion of the game is it's good, little long, and the side quests are the same thing over and over again, basically. But the areas do look neat, and the enemies do look neat as well. So it made me want to keep going and see how the story progressed and whatnot. Speaking of story, the story basically, let me get a little wee bit help. Arena story. So, the game setting takes place in Tamriel on the whatever year when the Emperor Uril Septus 7 summons his advisor, Imperial Battle Mage Jargon Thorn, over to concerns about the betrayal within the court. Basically, what goes down is Jargon imprisons the true Emperor in a pocket dimension or some dimension. It's not explicitly said, because it doesn't overly matter. He is somewhere trapped. And then the Battle Mage Jargon takes his place, getting the Staff of Chaos and snapping it into 8 pieces and dispersing them across the realm, as it's the only thing that can bring back the Emperor. You play a character who is in jail for reasons and are contacted by the Emperor's mage person? Who was she? Yeah. So the Thorn takes over the Emperor, being false, but playing the Emperor, and everything goes on. The whole area is called Arena now because of all the blood and fighting, so that's where the name comes from. the Emperor's magic... Who is she? Rhea. Rhea? Yeah. So, Jargon sends a decree to get your character thrown in the dungeon and put to death. But following another person's death, Rhea uses her magic to take an incorporeal form between life and death to talk to your character about what needs to be done getting the Staff of Chaos. So, you go out to all eight of the different different states, areas, etc. in the area to find all 8 Staff of Chaoses, bring them together, and then go into the 9th area, being the Imperial City, go through and take on Jargon Thorn once and for all, and free the Emperor. So, overall, the story is interesting enough going through. To get the staff piece, every single time, you always come across someone who has it, whether it be the king or queen of the place, of the town you're in, one of the people, someone from the Mage Guild, or else someone from the Brotherhood of the priests and whatnot. You go to them asking about, hey, I'm looking for X place that holds the next staff key, and they'll tell you, oh, you want that? You have to do X first for us. You have to get the parchment from this area that was stolen from us. Get the hammer back from this area that was stolen from us. Basically, you get another item to give to them, then they give you the location of where the entrance to the place to get the Staff of Chaos is. You do that, get the Chaos, and then you go to the next province. So, overall for the story is pretty good, I guess. It's fine. The main story of getting all the staff pieces to eventually get through and fight Thawne and whatnot, Thane, Jargon, whatever his name is pretty decent. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. It had good voice acting, I think, or pretty good for a game that a lot of people might not have taken seriously. The voice actors did a good job at conveying, like, good, like, menace or care and whatnot. But yeah, it's just long with going, and kind of sucks how, everything's gonna go, oh, you want to get the staff piece, that's in A area. You have to go to B area to get us C or B item, so we can tell you where A area is to get to the A item, which is the Staff of Chaos. And you go all around the realm, from Morrowind to Rockfell, Somerset Island, Skyrim, etc., etc. So I get why there's 8 places, or there's 8 pieces, because there's 8 places, but without much going on, and the areas at least look different, but overall, the story-wise, it's just goes on. You just do the same thing over and over again, which is why I ended up just having a map, looking at it and going, what looks interesting on here, where the item might be. And a lot of the time I was right. But anyways, moving on, we go to the characters. Being your character, who's silent, so it's your stand-in, so they don't really talk. There is the Jargon Thawne, who is a very menacing mage who sends baddies at you. He hates what you're doing. He doesn't want you to complete it. He's fine as a bad guy. And Rhea, as your helpful guide, is helpful. It's very standard thing. Oh, and then there's the King Emperor who comes back and congratulates you at the end for saving the day. Woo. Overall, it's fine. It's very much just kind of paint by numbers characters that just get the job done. There's no real deep complexity that I really saw. They're not completely just like, hey, go do this. There is care in their words, but in the end, like, it's a very much like, hey, this is the character, this is their role, they're going to play it perfectly. And they do. So, character-wise, it is good. It is fine. It is passable and enjoyable. Besides that, there is now we can talk about the places. And so the most of the game is pre-generated stuff. The only things, or half of the game is pre-generated, half isn't. Like the town where the map and all the towns are not pre-generated. The layout and whatnot and what shops have in there are not pre-generated. They are always the same in what they have. But the people, the outside people that you see there, the monsters you might come across sometimes, and then there are random dungeons that you can find, and even the gold piles that you find are all procedurally generated. So it gives a feel of like kind of a random adventure, but not really. The enemies in the main dungeons that you go into are usually where they are. They might be a little different placement, but they're usually like, if there's a goblin in a room, it'll be in that room, but maybe not at the door. When you go in the first time, it's at the door, but the second time, it's over in the corner. And there are many areas. Like I said, every area you go into every province has 2 dungeons to go through, besides the main capital, which only has the 1. But they do a good job of making them look unique and have different flavor, whether it be the Elven Grove and going outside and looking at nature, to the Darudu Volcano in Morrowind, which is more fiery, and you can see that. From castles to caverns to like mine shafts and whatnot. It does do a good job making the areas look neat and having interesting things in them to look at that is neat. And it is very nice, and it has a lot of stuff going for it. Again, the procedurally generated loot makes it, though, that there's no real sense to explore. Because if I walk into a room, like, follow the path, walk into a room, I come across treasure and check it, I have the same amount of luck of getting, like, good stuff to sell in this one as one all the way in the corner over there. Though a lot of times, if there is one in the corner, there's usually more gold pile around it. So there's that. But it makes searching just feel secondary. Even leveling up doesn't feel overly good, as it takes a while to level up. And like I said, if you get gold right from the get-go, you can buy like the best armor, you can get the best weapon right away. You can even look up, like, hey, where do I find XYZ, and pinpoint what you want. Of course, anyways, that's going more into I guess we'll go right into the gameplay of the game, which I've talked about a lot, because it kind of interweaves everything. You go into a location, you must hunt down a thing that's on the floor, pick it up, floor pedestal, pick it up, leave, go into another area, get the stat piece, leave, and start rinse and repeat. The areas are interesting. I won't cross over anything I've already talked about with it being pre-generated and whatnot. But basically, it's just you shake the mouse to attack. You can get potions that you can press a button to check them. There's a rest button where if you're not resting on heightened area, you have a chance of being attacked. So you gotta be careful of that. And there's a jump button to jump farther. There's like fire resistant, ice resistant, electricity resistant. There's a bunch of potions you can take and weapons. And it does work really well. Again, I've talked about this endlessly in the gameplay, which you should watch if you want to see all the heck I went through. Until I finally was like, yep, just get the map up and whatnot. It just... like, a good example, the first area I went into, Stone Keep. I went to the right side, and that's in the right side, that's where a lot of heavy hitting monsters were. So I had to attack, leave, heal, attack, leave, heal. And this is the second dungeon you go into, not counting the Imperial dungeon. I guess there is 2 in the Imperial area, 1 being a prison, and then 2 being the palace that you go into. So there are like 2 areas in each area. technically, I guess. But like, yeah, I just went through and I found the thing I needed. I got close, tried to pick it up, it didn't work, and so I left it because I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's just flavor text there, the parchment on the ground that looks like it's the thing I need. And it, I checked everywhere else, getting items and whatnot, which don't really matter in the end, as I found out. Besides magical items, which sell for a lot of money. And then there was flavor text where at one point there was a thing that came up saying, oh yeah, we need to go north into the goblin mine. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm looking for something. Maybe I need to follow that and go into the goblin mine. But I would go north and then do the thing going, oh yeah, we need to go south to the goblin mine. Couldn't find it, looked it up and finally went, oh, the thing I was at and knew it was there is the thing I need. I took a few steps back, tried to pick up, which doesn't always work, is the thing as well. Like, I've tried picking up from a distance, maybe not, I don't know. But, like, right from the get-go, you have tough enemies in the area you need to go to get the one thing. And for me, I'm like, oh, okay, this is something to do later. I didn't, of course, I brute forced it, because I'm just that good. But yeah, just, overall, there was no need for me to check out 80% of that dungeon, or any of the dungeons, really. Unless the dungeon's like, hey, there are keys scattered all around, find them. There's no need to actually explore every single nook and cranny, which sucks in a game like this, where I like exploring. Because, like, unlike other games where you could find some good stuff to really sell, everything could be good and whatnot, a lot of it's just junk that doesn't even need to be picked up. So, like, I'm kind of torn on the game in that regard. The gameplay works really well, but it just goes down into get a bunch of cold, fire, and lightning resistance. Have a bunch of true healing potions, and just chug away as you're waving your sword around to kill everything. It's not bad. I recommend playing it. Just, have a map on hand. It's just weird. But either way, in conclusion, it's not a bad game. It looks really neat. The places look beautiful. The enemies are neat, and they have their own little attack animations and death animations and all that. When it comes to the story itself, it's the same thing over and over and over again. But the areas at least look neat enough. The gameplay is competent, even though it just roots down into keep healing, keep resistant up, and keep on fighting. And it just makes a weird mess. I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I'm done. But yeah, this is one of those games where, like, I want to say, yes, check it out. It's 100% worth your time. But on the other hand, I'm like, it might just be best to look up, like, the story and how it goes. Because especially in later, I'm positive in later games, like Morrowind, they talk about, like, oh yeah, the Eternal Champion. Or, oh yeah, Jaggerthron and whatnot. And you can go, oh, I know that name. I know who they're talking about. Oh, Emperor whatever, the 7th? Yep, I know him. He was from the first ever Elder Scrolls Arena. So yeah, just check it out. Just know it's a very tough game right from the get-go. And just use a map. It's the best thing. I found it really fun to have to look at the maps and kind of figure out, okay, what looks like the thing would be there. And again, a lot of times I'm like, hey, I'm right. It's a blocked-in area with a long path going to it. That's where it is. Yeah, it just sucks that a majority of where you go is not needed and you can just streamline it. The chances of you getting anything good is low. Yeah. It's a fun game. They moved on to other better stuff after this. Like, Skyrim is still highly praised, and I can't wait to get to that one in 500 years. But either way, thank you, my feathers, for watching. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay and this quick review. That's just, yeah, there's a lot to this game, but also not very much when you really look at it. But either way, thank you, my featherites, and I will see you next time. Take care.